Hey everybody, Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. Hey, last week I did a video and it ran kind of long, so I wanted to kind of finish that up, trying to help you guys get ready, especially up north, that's getting ready for winter to be over and get out there and start making some money. But wanted to talk about the different wands that I use, a couple that I used to use, some that I don't use anymore. So kind of want to go over that coming up for you next. Okay, guys, so first off, everybody's familiar with the pressure wash gun assembly that we sell at DougRuckerStore.com. This is a great gun for downstreaming. You can get this in the blue legacy gun like this. You can get it in the orange gun. All three guns that we sell, you know, this one's got blue on it. There's an orange gun that's supposed to be a safety gun, which basically means you can see it if it's laying in the grass. But this is a legacy gun, which is made by Suttner, and it's the same exact gun as the orange gun. I use it most of the time now because it's a little bit cheaper, works just as good. Very relaxed trigger, nice short star-shaped grip on it, and then we also have the gun swivel on it. So it makes it very easy to use. This one just happens to have a plug coming off the end. Mine would have the coupler, but this is set up for somebody to pick up on Monday. And then your J-rod nozzles can, of course, go right in, and you can switch whichever nozzle you're going to use. So that's one of the guns that we keep on our trucks and that we use on a normal, pretty much everyday basis. Another thing that we used to use, and I don't use as much anymore, are these pipe wands. I really only keep one or two, kind of a longer one like this, and then we also keep a shorter one like this just in case we need it. I think they're 46 and 39. Well, it tells me right here. This one, it doesn't tell me. But I think that's what I use, just kind of a shorter one and then a little bit longer one. I don't need that real long one anymore. And I'll show you why in just a second. But the pipe wands is what I used to use all the time for years. These require a wand saver plug fitting like this. You can see it's a little bit longer than most plug fittings, and the reason is actually the threads are inset and they're a little bit deeper down in here. So as you put this in, you have to get it all the way down, and then you can start threading. And what that does basically is it helps prevent this from snapping. But if you get this pinned against the corner of a house or going through a gate and you catch the 4x4 or whatever, you have to be careful because these can snap off. They're real soft aluminum. They're very lightweight. So you got to be real careful using these. And then, of course, on the other end would be your coupler fitting for your J-rods. And so we used to use these frequently. We would just attach it to our pressure wash gun assembly. If we needed to get something up high, then we could spray pretty high, okay? Because it just kind of extends the length of it. And so that's why we would keep a couple different sizes on them. That's the fittings that you need for the aluminum pipe wands, but like I said, I don't really use those as much anymore, simply because they do break kind of easy. So you got to be real careful with those and make sure that you're not snapping it against something or running it up against something, like I mentioned before. What I've gone to is I use these star-shaped grips, which is the same one that I showed you on the pressure wash gun assembly. And so we have one like this, and we always have a gun swivel so we can rotate it when we need. It's very, very helpful. These are very helpful when you're cleaning vertical surfaces and then you want to go up and down. All you have to do is turn your nozzle like I showed you in the video last week. So all I have to do is just, where is it? Here it is. So it's going up and down, then we can just rotate it, you know. For cleaning of fences, any around windows, it's just very easy to manipulate the wand part so you don't have to stop and twist your nozzle. So these are basically the two guns that we use most frequently. This one I think is a 36 inch and this one's a little bit longer. Okay, I have one with an orange gun, one with a blue gun, just so I can identify. I always know the orange gun is the longer one when it's laying in the truck. So those are the two wands that we use. You can get those if you wanted to. You could actually set these guns up to where, I have mine with a gun on each wand, but you could actually set these up on your gun to where you had a fitting coming off of them. And let me show you that next. Okay, so if you don't want to have separate guns like I do, you want to save yourself a little money, you can absolutely do that. And the way that you would do that is you would just have a gun like this, which would basically be a dedicated gun. And you can actually do it two different ways. You can put your 1/4 inch coupler fitting off the gun. You can have your plug fitting off of the wand and then just snap it into place. The only thing I don't like about this is there's a little play here because of the quick connect coupling. You don't really feel it that much when you're cleaning because of the pressure going through it, but I just don't like how it feels, and so I don't use it that way. And plus, I just like being able to grab the gun, throw my hose into my fitting without having to stop and change and go to the other size wand. You could also, if you wanted to, you can also put on a Mossmatic hose swivel. You could actually just put it right there, and then your plug fitting, where did my plug fitting go, would go on the end here, and you could do that. Okay, now the other way you can do it and really save some money is you can take the 1/4 inch plug off of here. You can put your Mossmatic swivel on the gun. Take your plug off first, Doug. Okay, put your swivel there. Put your 1/4 inch plug fitting here. Okay. Of course, tape everything up, tighten it down. And then your plug fitting on the end of your wand. And now you've got a gun set up because the swivel is on the gun. No matter what wand you put in, you've always got a swivel. So just a couple different ways that you can do it. Again, I just like having all of my guns with the gun already attached and the swivel already attached. There's no play. Works great that way. You can also bypass having a swivel. If you don't want a swivel on it, you can just hard plumb it right into the gun. That's a nice feel too. You just don't get the benefit of having a swivel on there is all. And then we also have these little, if you use these colored nozzles, we also have these little holders that will go over the pipe. You will have to spray some soap and get this really lubricated good to get this to slide on there. But it's a handy little thing if you use these types of nozzles. Unfortunately, they don't make one that the J-Rod would fit, but then again, why would you need to use it? Because you've got all 4 nozzles right here. So that's pretty much it for the guns and wands that I use. Of course, we talked about last week the adjustable. You can go back and see that video if you need to. So the adjustable wand and a couple of these different size star-shaped is what I use with the guns already on them. And I actually use brass fittings on the ends of a lot of mine because brass works great. The one thing that you want to make sure you do, whether it's stainless or brass, whatever you want to use, is make sure you keep them. Again, we use the high performance lubricants. Just kind of keep them lubricated after each use. These haven't been used in a while, and that'll keep them working good. The last thing I want to remind you guys of is always make sure when you put your nozzle in that you get it totally seated and this snaps up over the bearings. If you can see bearings, or if it's sitting down a little bit and you squeeze the trigger, that baby's going far, far, far away. Okay? Been there, done that. So that's why I always advocate pulling your first trigger towards the ground or up in the air. Just be careful that what goes up does come down. But generally speaking, if you dislodge one of these after you pull the trigger, you just need to run back to the truck, get you another nozzle, because you're not finding this baby usually. It's got a lot of pressure behind it. So, hope that helps you guys. I think I had one more tip about hose. So let me get that hose and I'll be right back. Okay guys, last thing I want to show you is connecting two hoses together, and a couple of tips about hoses. Don't forget, if you're getting value out of these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notifications every time I come out with a video, and then leave me a question or a comment. If there's anything I can help you with, I'll try my best to help you. But let me adjust the camera angle here real quick, and then I'll come back and show you the part about hoses. Okay guys, when you've got a hose reel and you're using multiple lengths of hoses, I use two 100-foot hoses on our hose reels. Wanted to show you an easy way to connect those so that they don't create a big lump on your hose reel. The easiest way I found is to use a 3/8 hex coupler. These are on our store website. That's the easiest thing I've found. It helps them to lay a little bit flatter and not create such a big lump where you have quick connect fittings. And so on any pressure hose, the hoses that we sell, one end is going to have a swivel, which is this end. Okay, you see how that turns? The other end won't. So you've always got a swivel on one end, and then you've got non-swivel on the other end. So what you want to do when you're putting these together is the end that does not swivel, which is this one, you want to tape it up, put your lock seal on it, and then get this on there with a open-ended wrench, tighten that down real good, and then I put this into a vise, but you can do it if you're holding it with a wrench or whatever, and then take the end that has the swivel, and that will screw into that part after you've of course taped it. Okay, and so that will help you eliminate that lump as you're rolling your hoses up. That's how I do it. That's what I use. Okay, so that's connecting two hoses. The other thing I want to talk to you about is using a 4-gallon per minute machine and the hose setups that I always recommend for that. So hold on just a second while I readjust the camera angle again. Okay guys, so this is your typical 4-gallon per minute machine that a lot of guys will start out with. Is what I recommend if you're starting a business. 4-gallon per minute belt drive machine. So when you're using these machines, I don't recommend that you use a 100-foot hose. I recommend 3 50-footers. And what's going to happen is you're going to use predominantly 2 50-footers and then have another 50-footer as a spare or to add on if you need an extra length. The reason I recommend that is if you go with a 100-foot hose and then you add a 50-footer to it, if that 100-foot hose happens to bust on a job, you're down to 50 foot and you're having to move your machine quite a bit around a property. So I would suggest to use, buy 3 50-foot hoses, use 2 because a 100-foot is perfect for a 4-gallon per minute machine. That gets you basically cleaning any moderately sized house with maybe only 2 movements, maybe a third. But if it is a little bit larger, then you can add on that third 50 footer as you need it. So that's what I recommend. For the little 4 gallon per minute machines, you can start off with 2 if you want, but you just always want to have a spare backup to for hoses, so that it just saves you plenty of time and not having to move the machine as much. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications. Leave me a question or a comment, and I'll be glad to help you guys out. And don't forget to check out our website for our school, where we have online training as well as training here in Houston every month at pressurecleaningschool.com. Y'all be blessed.